They came at you with their usual tricks, sweet words that sounded caring, actions that seemed thoughtful, and little games meant to keep you guessing. It was something they had done many times before, and it usually worked. They were sure they could pull the same thing with you. But this time, it didn't go the way they planned. You didn't fall for it. You could see what was really going on behind the smiles and fake kindness. You felt their pressure, but you stayed calm. And that calmness is what's haunting them now. It wasn't just that you said no. It was that you showed them they had no power over your peace. You didn't react the way they expected. You didn't get angry, beg, or play along. You simply chose to step away, and that quiet decision spoke louder than any words could. They wanted control, but you gave them stillness. They wanted attention, but you gave them silence. That's what they can't forget. You see, they were used to people bending, explaining, trying to fix things. But you didn't do that. You didn't try to make them understand you or prove your worth. You just walked away with your head held high. And in that moment, your silence became your shield. Now they're looking back, realizing that the one person they thought they could easily handle was never under their spell at all. You showed them what true strength looks like, not loud, not angry, but calm, centered, and free. You didn't fight to be seen or heard. You let your peace speak for itself, and that peace became your power. They can't stop thinking about it because deep down they know you were never the one they could control. You never gave your heart just because someone showed you attention. You weren't moved by compliments or sweet promises. You didn't need anyone's approval to know your worth. They thought a little charm, a few kind words, or some attention would be enough to win you over. They assumed you'd react like everyone else, getting attached too quickly, searching for their validation. But you didn't. You stayed calm, collected, and grounded in yourself. And that's what caught them off guard. They didn't expect someone who could see through their act. Your peace made them uneasy. Your quiet confidence left them unsure of what to do next. They tried to find your weakness, to make you second-guess yourself, to pull you into their drama. But you didn't give them what they wanted. You stayed in control, not by fighting, but by not reacting. While they were trying to confuse you, you stayed clear. You didn't rush to explain yourself or to make them understand your value. You just let your silence speak. That calmness, that still energy, made them realize they couldn't reach you the way they hoped to. When they saw they couldn't shake you, they tried another move. Pulling back, going quiet, waiting for you to chase. But you didn't move. You didn't beg for answers or try to fix things. You chose yourself instead. You protected your peace over their attention. And that made all the difference. You showed them something they rarely see. Someone who doesn't need to play games to feel powerful. You didn't try to fit in or win them over. You stood firm in who you are, and that spoke louder than anything they could say. Your strength was in your peace, and your peace became your power. They showed up wearing a mask of goodness, acting kind, helpful, and understanding. On the surface, everything seemed perfect, but you could feel what others couldn't see. You noticed the small things, the way their words started sounding empty, the way their energy felt off. You saw when the charm began to fade and the truth started to show. While some people would have held on tighter, hoping for love or approval, you chose something different. You chose yourself. When their games began, trying to twist your emotions, make you doubt your worth, or pull you into confusion, you didn't crumble. You stayed centered in your peace. You didn't argue, chase, or try to prove anything. You simply refused to play their game. That's what unsettled them the most. Every time they tried to use silence to make you worry, guilt to control you, or drama to draw you back in, you met it with calm. You didn't get dragged into their story. You stepped back with quiet strength, and in doing so, you broke a cycle that had trapped so many before you. They wanted power over your emotions, but you didn't give them that. They wanted you to react, to question yourself, to need them. But you didn't. You chose peace instead of confusion. You healed instead of chasing closure. You found your clarity in the stillness of your own heart. They thought leaving you in the dark would weaken you, but it only helped you see the truth. What they meant to use against you became your awakening. And while they remain stuck in their own illusions, you've stepped into a life that feels honest, peaceful, and free. You didn't fight to win. You simply chose freedom. And that decision changed everything. Even when things started to feel heavy, when they tried to trap you with guilt, confusion, and emotional games, you didn't lose yourself. You didn't argue or try to prove a point. Instead, you started turning inward, choosing to give your energy back to yourself. While they were busy creating drama, you were quietly rebuilding your strength. They thought they were breaking you, but you were actually learning how to rise. They expected you to react, to lose control, to beg for peace. But instead, you gave them silence. You gave them calm. You showed them that you didn't need to fight to win. You just needed to stay grounded in your truth. That kind of strength, quiet and unshakable, spoke louder than anything you could have said. You didn't fall into their traps. You didn't let their actions decide how you felt. You used your stillness to heal, to get clear on what you truly deserved. It wasn't weakness. It was wisdom. You started setting boundaries without guilt. You stopped explaining things to people who didn't really want to understand. You stopped trying to make chaos feel like home. As they tried to pull you off balance, you found your center. As they lost control of you, you found control of yourself. Every quiet moment became a step toward freedom. You began to see that walking away doesn't mean losing. It means choosing peace over pain. You stopped feeding what was draining you. You stopped giving your power away. You left quietly, not out of fear, but out of strength. That calm exit was your victory. You didn't walk away broken. You walked away whole. You didn't lose anything important. You found yourself again. And now, no one can shake the peace you've built within. They wanted to be in charge. Having control made them feel strong. But your quiet strength, your calm way of standing your ground, broke through the image they tried so hard to keep. They thought they could take your power, make you question yourself, maybe even make you beg. But instead, you walked away with your peace. You didn't lose. You rose higher. And now, they're left watching, unable to stop what's unfolding. Everything they tried to do to pull you down is falling apart. The tricks they used on others, manipulation, confusion, fake affection, don't work on you. You didn't give them the reaction they wanted. You didn't fall for their games. And as you focused on rebuilding yourself, piece by piece, their own foundation started to crack. Your peace exposed their chaos. Your silence revealed their truth. They can't stand seeing you glow in the freedom they thought you'd never find. Now they're trying to cover it up, pretending nothing's wrong, trying to replace your energy with someone else's. But no one matches what you brought into their life. Your absence speaks louder than any words ever could. Their downfall began the moment you chose not to respond. You've become living proof that healing is real. You didn't just survive, you grew stronger. Every wound became wisdom. Every loss became a lesson. You chose love over hate, truth over control, and peace over pain. And because of that, nothing they do can touch you anymore. You've turned every attempt to break you into a reason to rise. You are the reminder that no darkness can dim a soul filled with light. You're no longer trapped in their game. You're walking in your power. You've become everything they never expected. Free, strong, and unstoppable. You stand firm. You stand strong. Nothing they did could shake the truth inside you. They came thinking they could overpower you, but they left empty-handed. You didn't need anger to win. You didn't need revenge. You simply refused to lose yourself. You kept your light. You stayed peaceful. You held your ground, and that quiet strength became their defeat. Now they have to watch what they tried to stop, you rising. They can't interfere, can't block it, can't touch it. Your growth isn't loud or showy. It's calm, steady, and full of purpose. You're no longer trying to prove your worth because you already know it. Choosing yourself was your victory. Standing in your truth was your turning point. You took back your voice, your focus, and your power. And that choice changed everything. The same energy they tried to break is the very energy lifting you now. You didn't stay small. You didn't stay silent. The pressure they used to hold you down only helped shape who you truly are. Like a phoenix, you've risen from what tried to destroy you, glowing brighter than ever before. And the most powerful part of your story? You did it without hate. You didn't seek payback. You didn't wish harm. You simply kept walking in love and truth, letting your peace be your answer. That's real strength, the kind that doesn't need to shout. You've become a living example of grace. A reminder that real power doesn't come from control. It comes from knowing who you are and refusing to dim that light for anyone. You've turned pain into purpose, lessons into wisdom, and silence into power. And now, your very being is proof that light always wins.